So let me take you to Cape Town, where Cape Town residents can write their messages in a book of condolences for Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. It's in the St. George's Cathedral. Several streets around the church have been closed. Senior reporter Ayesha Ismail joins me there. And St. George's is, of course, Ayesha, quite significant in the story of the late Archbishop Emeritus, who became the Archbishop of Cape Town and the head of the Anglican Church, the first black South African to occupy that particular position. Very symbolic. Tell me about what's happening at the moment, the signing of that book of condolences, but also some of the reflections that we have heard.
Well, Tulas, there are many books of condolences here outside St. George's Cathedral because, of course, we still have to observe all COVID-19 protocols. So as you can see, there are gazebos up here where people are able to come and safely sign the books here and convey their condolences. We've also seen people placing flowers here outside the cathedral. And I'm just going to go closer to the book so that you can see some of the messages written to the Archbishop. And I don't know how far you can see, Tulas. It says there, Hamba Gahle Tata, thank you for everything, your wisdom, your humanity, your caring, Nkosi. And these are just one of the books. There's, other books that's already on the second page. And we've seen people coming. They're coming in slowly but surely. People saying that as they were walking into the company gardens where the cathedral is situated, it was the first time that they then heard the news that the Archbishop had passed on. But you talk about the St. George's Cathedral, of course the cathedral has become synonymous, or Archbishop Desmond Tutu has become synonymous with Archbishop Desmond Tutu, because this is where, as young activists, as young journalists, we sought refuge during the turbulent 80s, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu opened up the doors of the cathedral for us to come and have meetings here. It is here where we were tear-gassed. Even the Archbishop and Mama Leah were tear-gassed outside the cathedral after we staged anti-apartheid marches down Wales Street and Adley Street. So certainly a very, very sad day for South Africans. This morning I went to a press conference at the Civic Centre hosted by the City of Cape Town, and when we heard there from the family representatives, we heard from Patricia de Lille, who had a very close relationship with Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And I think that the one thing that people agree on is that Archbishop Desmond Tutu really lived the spirit of Ubuntu. And you were referring earlier to the LGBTQIA+ community. As I was walking to the cathedral this morning, I came across some homeless queer people, and they had also just heard about the passing of the Arch. And they said to me, and I have to say to you, Tulas, in Afrikaans, they said to me, Ons harte is baie seer. Hy was 'n goeie man gewees. Hy was baie lief vir ons. Our hearts are broken. He was a very good man. He loved us. And that's just, what people were saying about the Archbishop.
Yeah, he certainly did. In fact, Ayesha, what you're mentioning is hugely important, so let me not move on as quickly as I initially wanted to. Those sentiments of the members of the LGBTQIA community that you mentioned there, hugely important, because I remember one of the times a few years ago when Archbishop Tutu said the God that he served is not a xenophobic, a homophobic God. And basically saying that if he were to get to heaven and find out that, the God that he served was why do I keep saying xenophobic? Homophobic. He would rather go to the other place, which is the alternative to going to heaven. So, his sentiments on that were hugely important, and that's a key theme that we do need to highlight in the coming hours in our coverage of this great man's life. But Ayesha, just share with me the reflections of the former mayor of Cape Town and Minister Patricia de Lille.
Well, Well, Patricia de Lille was saying to me that she did not only have a political relationship with the Archbishop, but she also had a personal relationship with him, and also reflected on the times when her parents passed on. And she said that as an Anglican, she sought counsel from the Archbishop, and he accepted her as his daughter. But then she went on to talk about how simple the Archbishop was, how he did say to her that he did not want a lavish funeral. He did not want all the pomp and ceremony. And Tulas, I was also told that the Archbishop did ask to be buried in a plain and simple pine casket. Now, more details of the funeral arrangements will emerge later today. We will be hearing from the President as to which category of funeral the Archbishop will be accorded. And then, of course, we know that the city of Cape Town will be having a huge memorial service later this week, and this is expected to take place on the Grand Parade outside the City Hall. But it's going to be interesting to see how the state and, of course, the Anglican Church is going to deal with the funeral of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, as I said, whose desire and wish was to have a plain and simple burial.